You've seen death before, but not like this. The room is quiet, not calm, not peaceful, just quiet in a way that feels off. You look at the file, then at the body. Everything matches, and that's exactly what bothers you. Because something about this case feels too complete, too clean. And the longer you stand there, the more it feels like something is missing. Or worse, something is being hidden. You work where most people stop looking. You spend your days in rooms no one talks about, with cases no one wants to think about. You don't chase answers. You wait for them to reveal themselves. But over time, you start to understand something. Not every case ends when it's closed. Some stay, not in the room, in you. Your first case feels distant, not physically, mentally. You expect something overwhelming, something heavy, something you won't be able to handle. But instead, everything feels controlled. Too controlled. The room is quiet, the lighting is steady, the process is calm. It almost feels routine. You focus on what you're supposed to do. You listen carefully. You follow instructions. You keep your expression neutral. But your attention keeps drifting. Small things stand out. A detail that feels slightly out of place. A position that seems intentional. You tell yourself it's nothing. You're new. Your mind is overreacting. That's what you believe, until you leave, because later that night, when everything should feel normal again, it doesn't. You stand in your own space, listening to silence that feels too familiar. And for a moment, you feel like you're still in that room. Time changes the way you see things. You stop reacting. Or at least it looks that way. Your movements become more precise. Your thinking becomes faster. You don't hesitate the way you used to. From the outside, you look completely in control. But internally, something shifts. You start noticing patterns. Not obvious ones, subtle ones. The way certain cases arrive at certain times. The way some files feel heavier before you even open them. You read reports differently now. You don't just see what's written, you notice what isn't. You begin to recognize a strange consistency. Not in the cases themselves, but in how they are presented. Everything makes sense, too easily. You don't question it out loud. You don't need to, because the feeling stays with you anyway. At some point, you stop carrying the cases with you. At least that's what you decide. You create distance. You keep your work contained. You separate your thoughts. And for a while, it works. You stop feeling the weight. You stop replaying details. You become efficient, but detachment doesn't remove the pressure. It changes it. You start noticing things you didn't before. Small interruptions. Moments that don't fit. You hear something in a quiet room and turn, but nothing is there. You remember a detail from a case you closed weeks ago, but you can't explain why it matters. You start questioning your own memory. Not because it's failing, because it's becoming too sharp, too selective. The discomfort is no longer tied to what you see. It's tied to what stays after. The difficult cases are never the loud ones. They're the quiet ones. The ones that appear simple, complete, final. One arrives late in the day, the file is clean. Everything lines up. No contradictions, no confusion, no missing pieces. It should be easy, but it isn't. You read it once, then again, and something doesn't sit right. Not because anything is wrong. Because nothing is wrong, that's the problem. You look closer. There's a detail, small, easy to ignore. But it repeats. In a different place, in a slightly different form. You follow it. And suddenly the case feels different, less like a conclusion, more like a construction. You mention it, carefully. The response is immediate. It's already been reviewed. Everything checks out. There's no reason to question it. No reason. You nod. But the thought doesn't leave, because now you've seen it. And once you see something like that, it doesn't disappear. There is always one case. One that changes everything. You don't expect it. It arrives like any other. Normal, structured, controlled. But this time, you notice something immediately. A detail that doesn't belong, not visibly, but mentally. You go back, check again, then again. The more you look, the clearer it becomes. This isn't random. It's consistent. You start reviewing older cases, not because you're told to, because you need to know. And what you find isn't obvious, but it's enough. A pattern, hidden in plain sight, the same type of detail appearing again and again, the same structure, the same quiet assumption. No one talks about it. No one reacts to it. And that's what unsettles you the most. Because now you're not asking what's wrong with the case. You're asking why no one else sees it, or worse, why they stopped looking. The realization doesn't come all at once. It settles in, slowly. You sit alone, the file open in front of you, reading the same lines again. But now they feel different. Less like facts, more like choices. A version of events that works. A version that closes the case, but not necessarily the truth. You look around the room, everything is the same. Nothing has changed. And yet, everything feels different. Because now you understand something you didn't before. This place doesn't just reveal answers, it filters them. And you crossed into something you weren't supposed to see. You leave the building. The outside world feels louder, brighter, normal. But it doesn't stay that way, because something followed you. Not physically, not visibly, but clearly. A thought you can't undo, a pattern you can't ignore. And now, every case feels slightly different. Not because of what's on the table, but because of what might not be. Because some things don't stay in the room. They don't stay in reports. They don't stay contained. They stay with you. And once they do, you don't just question the cases anymore. You start questioning who decided they were finished.